Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard. Today we're going to be taking a look at what's in this box. This is the Winchester Wildcat Xpert model. What makes it an Xpert model? I don't know. But this one is bolt action instead of semi-auto. And it's the exact same gun. I don't want to say it's the exact same gun. It really is not. It is a completely different gun. This one does not have the polymer receiver on it. It actually has a steel receiver on it that is drilled and tapped for a scope. Now, sadly, one of the things that the Xpert does not come with is that rail piece that goes on the top there. It is listed on their website, but it tells you to contact your retailer to get one of the rail pieces that mounts on there. It does have open sights on it, and they are a steel open sight instead of the polymer ones like are on the Wildcat. They are kind of a molded, probably injection molded steel sight that's on there. At least I believe they are steel anyways. They are not plastic, that's for sure. Very short throw on this bolt action. Little safety right there on the side of it. And to take the bolt out, all you're going to do is, you got this little button on the side here, you're going to push it in and you're going to pull the bolt out, and that's it. That's all you got to do to clean this thing up. Easy to get to, easy to clean up. Now when you go to put it back in, do not push the button. Just take the bolt and slide it right back in there. Piece of cake. It is a what do you call it? Rotary style magazine, and there's, just like on the Wildcat, you got these two pieces here on the side. You also got the little button in the front there that you can hook underneath there, and it'll pop right out in your hand, or you can take the two pieces on the side and slide them back, and again the magazine will pop right out in your hand. Now these are compatible with Ruger 1022 magazines, not the Savage rotary magazines. And I have a few 1022 magazines. I also have the other Wildcat, the semi-auto version of it. But we're just going to take this thing out on the range and give it a few shots. Now it does have an adjustable trigger. Let's take a little bit closer look at that. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do when you're adjusting the trigger is make sure it is empty. There's nothing in there. There's never been a round in this gun other than maybe the factory. Take your magazine out, set that off to the side. You know, we can go ahead and pull the bolt out of it too. And like I said, all you got to do is push that little button in, pull the bolt out, make sure there's no possible way this thing can go off. You got two screws in the trigger guard magazine housing, I guess you'd call it, this whole assembly right here. And this is all you need to do to take it apart too, is just take these two screws out. And once they're loose, go ahead and pull the whole assembly out of there, set that off to the side, and you can go ahead and pull the action right out of the stock. And then you've got a little tiny screw, as far as I can tell what the manual says, this little red one right here on the front. That is a very poor picture in the manual, but there's a little red arrow pointing at it right there. Now I'm not going to adjust it because from the factory they say this is set at about 4 pounds, and it has a range of let's see, somewhere between 3.5 to 6 pounds. It said the Xpert rimfire MOA trigger is preset at the factory at approximately 4 pounds. It can be adjusted within a range of approximately 3.5 to 6 pounds. So 4 pounds is really nice to me anyways. Pretty simple setup right here, and a little bit of oil on it, shipping oil and stuff. So one of the things I'm going to do is clean it up just a little bit, get it put back together, and then we'll get it out on the range and give it a few shots. Okay, I got me a thin film of frog lube on there, one of my favorite CLPs for a firearm, and it is a very smooth operating gun. Now, one of the things it does say specifically in the owner's manual is do not dry fire the Xpert rifle. Dry firing may damage the firearm components, possibly rendering the firearm inoperable. So you don't want to dry fire. You really don't want to dry fire any rimfire firearms if you can avoid it. Some of them are made where they can be dry fired, like the Ruger SR22. It specifically says in the manual it is able to be dry fired repeatedly. Anyways, pretty cool little rifle. We're going to get this thing out on the range and give it a few shots with some of my favorites. the Remington Thunderbolts because they come in a nice big bulk box, and I've got a bunch of these things. Let's get out to the range. Okay, we're out here on the range with the Wildcat Xpert, and I got my favorite Thunderbolts out here. So these are a 10 round rotary magazine, and all you got to do is, this is the front, the arrow part of it, I guess it kind of gets narrower at the front there. So you just take your rounds, push them right down in that little opening there for the rim to go in, push it down and slide it back in there. Now there is the little toothed part on here. You can use that to kind of help your follower rotate around there a little bit, but I find it's plenty easy enough just to push them in, push them over to the side and load them up. And there's all 10 rounds in there, and you can see a little bit through there's this kind of a smoky clear casing housing on here. You can see all your rounds inside there, how they're arranged in there, and it's really easy magazines to load. Now we're going to go ahead and get this put in there, and we're going to take 5 shots at the, I got a 50-yard sight-in target up there because I don't know exactly where this thing is. You have to adjust it with an Allen wrench. There is a little tiny screw in there. The front one is fixed on there, but your rear one, I'm not a real fan of the way the open sights adjust on there, because when you loosen that screw up, your top piece, your rear sight can move all directions, not just forward and backward, but side to side too. And there's nothing, no real clicks or anything to adjust it. You just loosen it up, move it where you want it, and then tighten it back down. This firearm was really meant for a scope. The only thing I don't like that they did was they did not include that rail in there. And this being a brand new rifle, you're not going to find a whole bunch of aftermarket ones that'll just mount right on there. Once you get the rail, that's fine and everything. I really wish it would have came with it. So anyways, it's all cleaned up and everything, and let's go ahead and get the eyes and ears on and take 5 shots. All right, we're going to take 5 shots at that center target up there and see how it does. Actually, let's just do 3 right now, because for some reason I think it's hitting far to the right. Let's go take a peek at it. Okay, there's my first 3 shots. That was my first one right there. That's why I thought it was shooting far to the right, because I saw a little puff of dust behind the target up there. My other 2 are right there. Nice little group there. Of course, it's only a 2-shot group, and it's looking like 1.25 inches high and about 3/4 of an inch to the right. I'm going to take a few more shots before I decide whether or not it needs to be adjusted, because the first 3 are obviously not telling me the whole story. Let's give it a few more. Okay, so here's the sight picture from 50 yards at that target up there. Not the best, not a real good precise shot there, but I'm shooting at a target that's, I guess, about 2-inch square. I'm going to shoot for the lower left one this time, and I'm going to do 5 shots and see what I get. Okay, I took 5 shots that I did not record at this end anyways. I am recording it down there at the target, so I did catch that. Anyways, it was 5 shots lower left to see what I get on it, and we'll go up there and take a peek at it. Okay, there's my 5 shots right there. That one, wow, I wish I knew which one that was, and that's a phenomenal shot right there. Of course, I'm sure that was luck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all look like they're hitting nice and round, so there's no bullet tumbling. Of course, there should not be any bullet tumbling out of a 18-inch barrel on this thing. 16, whatever it is. That's pretty good right there. And like I said, you've seen the sight picture and everything. It's tough to see this. This is a long ways away, and that's a little tiny spot right there. To be able to pick out a 1/4 inch dot or a little circle like in the center of those right there at 50 yards, it's just, maybe you can do it, I can't. But I don't think that's terrible right there. There's a rabbit's head right there easily at 50 yards. Put a scope on it, probably do even better. Let's go ahead and take a couple shots at this, just because I got some of these old splatter targets here, and I want to use them up a little bit, and I might be able to see that from 50 yards. And there's my 10 rounds back in the magazine there. We'll get the eyes and the ears on again, and we're going to go ahead and take 5 shots at that dirty bird target there, splatter target, whatever you want to call it, and see how it does. That was the spent round from the last volley. Now I still can't see it from here. Maybe I can see them a little bit. Looks like some of them might be to the left a little bit. It looks like that last one might be a little high and to the right, but let's go up there and take a peek at that real quick too. Okay, so there they are. It looks like I had 3 to the left and 2 right and high up there a little bit. Like I said, this is really tough to see at 50 yards. It's I'm getting older, so you know it's a little tougher to see. With a scope, this would probably be great. Probably a 3 to 9 would be all you'd really need on this thing. But I'm sure if you wanted to do something a little more powerful, you'd probably be within the capabilities of the rifle pretty easily anyways. I got 5 more rounds in there. Let's take some 100-yard shots up there at the steel target. Way up there. I actually have painted it so that I can see the impacts. Maybe not from 100 yards. All right, eyes and ears once again. We're going to do these offhand at the 100-yard target and see what I get. It is a pretty light rifle. The trigger on this thing is really good. It just breaks. There's no creep to it or anything. It just goes ahead and pops, and that's it. Oh, there's a miss. Oh, that was a dry fire. One of the things that recommended you do not do with this gun. All right, so that was 5 rounds at the steel target up there. One of the cool things about this, now it does take the Ruger 1022 magazines, so the BX25 will also fit in there. If you were going to go out on a long rabbit hunt, maybe you just wanted a few more rounds to take with you, you could easily put one of these in there. Now on the Ruger 1022 magazines, they do not do last round hold open. Of course, you don't have to worry about that with the bolt action rifle because you're responsible for the last round hold open on it. And you should count them so you don't dry fire like I just did. It's bolt action. You don't have to worry about last round hold open. And with the Winchester Wildcat, it does have automatic last round hold open on it. And all the magazines are the same, so if you've got the Wildcat and you want to pick up the Xpert, now you'll have 2 magazines for it. And if you've got a Ruger 1022, you'll have a lot of extra magazines for it too. Really good trigger on this thing. I would just highly suggest when you pick one of these up, if you're going to pick one up, go ahead and get the rail if they've got it. If they don't have it, tell them to go ahead and order it, because when you go to the Winchester website, it does not say, you know, there's not a place where you can add to cart. It just says contact your local retailer for availability. And when I contacted the place I bought this from, after I bought it, obviously, they said, no, we don't have any in stock, but we'll probably go ahead and order some. I hope they do, because really, it's a good rifle. It's very light and it's very small too. It seems to almost be like a youth rifle. I mean, it's not, but you can get an extension to go on the back here. You just take the 2 screws out of the butt plate there, and there's, I think, a 3/4 inch extension to go on there. And I'm a pretty big guy, so I would probably go ahead and see about picking one of those up, because it does feel like it could be out just a little bit farther. Now the rear sight on it is set pretty far forward. It's not all the way back here, so your sight radius on here from your rear sight to your front sight is kind of short, but I was able to pull off some 100-yard shots there pretty easily. And the 50-yard shots are not terrible whatsoever for just being, you know, my eyes and open sights and everything. They are not very visible. These would definitely benefit you to put a little bit of paint on them so you can see them a little bit easier. Maybe some white on the rear one and some orange on the front or something to give you a little bit of contrast, because they're not real easy to see. That's a very small notch on that rear sight and not a very pronounced post on that front one. But I think it's a pretty good rifle anyways. Extremely smooth on the action there. it's amazing how smooth it is. And that trigger brake on there, like I said, is really nice. And I left it at the 4-pound setting that they have it on from the factory, and it really shoots great, I think. Anyways, not excessive heavy trigger pull, and a nice clean brake on it and everything. No creep or anything. Pretty nice rifle. Anyways, if you could reach up here and hit this button to check out some of my other videos, and hit this little round one over here to subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching the Winchester Wildcat Xpert and small caliber arms review.